That guy's good. Perceptor. And as you can tell, that is my real voice. It's really interesting watching those, because there's some things I remember, and some things are like the first time I've seen it. There are times when I felt that Perceptor, sometimes I could understand why Braun would get after him, because he sounded like he whined a lot. Okay, stop whining, Perceptor. And there were those moments where you wanted to be more like one of the badass guys. One of the, who doesn't want to be Optimus or Starscream. But it does take more than brawn, more than muscle to win a fight. You have to think. And if Perceptor's taught me anything, it's, every once in a while, just stop and think a little bit about what you're doing. It's hard for me. But isn't it? My wife is here, so she knows that's the truth. I'm just going to throw it open to questions. I'll tell you right now, I'd be willing to bet that if you know anything about Gen 1 Transformers, you probably know more than I do. Don't test me because I will fail. But we can play. Does anybody have any questions? I'll just throw that open. You can step up to that microphone when it gets turned on.
Yes. Feel free to come here, line up, ask questions.
That's me! And I must tell you, I have a new, this is embarrassing as all get out, I'll be honest. I have the new one, and I've had a dickens of a time trying to transform that sucker. Anybody else have a problem with the track vehicle? Really? Oh, God, I don't feel so stupid. It just took forever. Now, the original, got it. But, the track vehicle, it's still, the legs aren't totally together. It kind of works. It stands up. But, kind of embarrassed. Sir. What's your name?
Jonathan.
No, you're wrong.
What?
You're wrong. That's not your name. I'm sorry. Okay.
What's my name? So I always thought it was awesome that Perceptor's technobabble actually kind of makes some internal sense. Like the elements and stuff were made up, but the rest of it actually kind of made some sense. Other than like other shows like Star Trek where it's all just kind of gobbledygook. So did you have a background in science before you got the job for Transformers, or where did that come from?
I have a degree from MIT. I'm an astrophysicist. I just do this voiceover stuff on the side. No, I have no scientific background. I went to school, and I paid attention most of the time. And to be honest, there were times when it was rather difficult wrapping my lips around some of those words and putting those phrases together. Some things I understood, some things I didn't have a clue. But Wally Burr, who was I'm sure if any of the cons, you've heard stories about Wally Burr. Wally Burr was the voice director, and Wally Burr would spend, I don't want to say hours, but he would spend hours on making guys scream the right way, grunt the right way, the right way. But for me, he was very kind. Maybe because I didn't have to yell as much as Perceptor. He kind of liked what I was doing. So whatever it was, it worked, But as far as training, I could lie and say, I was a scientist. I'm just going to. But I appreciate it.
One other question, if you got time. Quick one. Was cosmic rust a metaphor for AIDS? Because I've always wondered.
None of us had any clue. That was that's actually an interesting question. Not for us.
Okay.
Now I don't know about I'm not even sure who wrote that one. It wasn't Flint, was
It
it?
was Paul David.
Oh, yeah. He didn't share that with us if it was. It was just Cosmic Rose. That's all.
Thanks very much.
You bet, man. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I said it first.
Actually, I got a question with regarding your role for Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid. Right. Snake.
By
Metal Gear
chance,
Solid people? Yes. Yeah. Metal Gear Solid, for those of you who don't know, it's a game that we first did in 1998 to 99. We've done, we just finished, well, we did Metal Gear 4, and they're doing a new one that I'm not involved with. Yeah.
that's my question
That
right
was-
there.
Metal Gear Rising?
Yeah, I was going to ask if you're actually involved in that in any way.
Nope. The last I heard, it's basically writing. There's no Snake involved, and no Colonel Campbell. Their loss, you know. That game is just going right down the tubes. You know? But it's really a great series, great game. Some of the cinematics in that were just amazing. They made a movie, is basically what it is, and there really is a story to it, a background. So it's not just a shoot 'em up game. And they keep talking about making a film, but the fellow who created it, Portugal, loves the game so much, loves the story so much that he's so protective that I don't know if it'll ever happen.
Thank you.
You bet. Hello.
Hi, Paul. First off, just to answer a previous question about the episode Cosmic Rust and if it was a metaphor for AIDS, Paul Davids actually said that it was, he didn't say it was a metaphor for AIDS, but he actually said at another convention that it was inspired by the time because all this was really in the conscious of the public about diseases and everything was really in there. So it was inspired by the times like that.
And that was early on. That was really early on.
That was like 85
Yeah.
around.
Because AIDS wasn't that much in the public eye.
Right,
We
people
were
weren't aware of it.
about it. In fact, I lost a friend, a dear friend, in '85, who came to our house one day when we bought a house. A wonderful actor, singer, and he came to our house and no one had any idea that he was ill. And within 3 months, he was gone. This was at the beginning of people really talked about AIDS. It was obviously around, but no one really spoke about it. He never shared that with us. We never heard that in the studio.
I was sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, if you can remember way back to your audition for Perceptor, was there anything interesting about your audition, and where did the British accent come from?
Well, what they wanted, as I recall, now help me out if I told this to you another time. You let me know, okay? As I recall, they wanted sort of an effete English accent. And so at first they said we wanted kind of a prototypical bumbling scientist who's so concerned about science that he loses track of other things, which is pretty, common when you think of the scientist. Cary Grant has played that kind of a scientist, and it's kind of one note after a while. But so they wanted him kind of effete, and they wanted him very bright, and they wanted British. And so I did this thing, and I said, it sounds a little like, C-3PO. And they said, oh yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That's what we're looking for. So that's how it ended up, And back then, everybody wanted to audition for more than one character, because everybody has more than one character in it. They're kind of a voice actor. But then it was like, no, we're going to start with just these people. Everybody does one character initially, and then as they added on characters, they got to do more characters. The great thing about, I'm going to go a little side, this is not about the audition, but the great thing about doing the Transformers that has changed over the years, and that is that everybody got to be in that room at the same time. There were times when there would be 8, 10 guys in there, microphones all over the place, and you get to feed off of each other's energy. You know, and most of the time it was just fabulous. There were times when we'd lose control and start laughing hysterically because of some of the things we'd have to do. And I think I've said this before, where there's a point where we were all insecticons, you know, eating buildings and chewing bridges or whatever, and watching everybody do their insecticon faces. Because when you're doing voices, you're becoming the character. You're not just standing there as Paul Eiding. You're hopefully your face is. It gets really silly. I don't need to do it. But to watch 9 or 10 grown men act like idiots in front of microphones, there are moments when you say, "My God, they're paying me to do this." You know, it's like, who's the crazy one? You know, me or them? They're paying me, so you know. But it was a great time. We had at Bot. Let's see, was it back in June? We had a screening for the anniversary of the movie, and it was the first time we had Red Burger, myself, help me out. Oh, Neil! Chief Yellow was there. Neil Ross, Wally Burr, and what? Danny Gilbazan, and the guy who played the little kid. But it was the first time we had that many of us all in the same room at the same time, and we just had a blast. You know, it was we had a packed theater, and all of us were together, and it was just like old times. We see each other all the time recording. Well, sometimes not all the time, but you know, but not all in the same room at the same time. But it really brought back a lot of memories.
Thank you very much, Paul.
You bet, man. Hello.
Hey, Paul, good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Could you explain what do you feel is the best and the worst part of your job as a voice actor?
The best part and the worst part?
Yeah.
Wow. The best part is being in the studio. You know, the best part is getting the job, is working, you know. Because that's where all this becomes possible. You know, once you're in there and you're recording something and you're creating something out of nothing and becoming something other than yourself, that's really the charge. I used to say, you know, if you put me in a studio behind a microphone or on a stage, I'm a happy guy. You know, because that's all I want to do. I want to act. And I'm really one of those really, knock on wood, lucky guys I've never done anything. Once I made my mind up to be an actor, I've never worked another job. I've never had to be on unemployment. I should have taken money, but I just had an ego thing about it. I've never done on unemployment, never waited tables. Not that those aren't great jobs. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, but I've just been very lucky. The hardest part, the worst part, is getting the job. You know, is you have to learn to accept no, or accept rejection, and not take it personally. Because there are those times when early on you'd audition for something, and say, "Oh man, I nailed that one." I'm looking crazy, and you know, I nailed that character. I got that one. Yeah, that dude was me. I understand that color. All right. So I feel like I've really done a great job in the audition, and then I don't get it. It's like, oh man, I thought it was so good too. You know. And then you hear somebody else who did it, and the worst part is when you hear somebody doing a part that you audition for, or somebody you know audition for, and it just doesn't sell. You know, that's painful. And sometimes it's been in large movies where you say, man, if they just had somebody who really knew what they were doing, not me, but just somebody who really knew what they were doing to really sell that character, sell that story, that's painful. And sometimes it happens when they cast movie stars for their name, often because they have to get it made. But if you get a movie star or a big name to do a role, make sure that they can do the role. You know what I mean? Because then it's painful to watch. You know, it's hard to say what the worst part of it, other than that, because all of it is, I really am lucky. I really am, you know, I'm sure all the guys who've been here said the same thing. To be able to do something you love and make a living at it, and have people respond to what you've been involved with. Whew. Thank you, Jesus. You know? It's all good.
Thanks a lot.
You bet, man. Hello, sir.
Hi. I was wondering if your favorite character was a preceptor or a different one.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the whole question.
Was your favorite character a preceptor or was it a different one?
Was your favorite preceptor or someone else?
Oh, my favorite? You mean in the Transformers?
I think he's more asking from your voice work, like
Oh,
maybe a
okay.
preceptor or something.
Oh, that's a tough one. That's a very good question, sir.
The guy before us told us that.
Hey,
Sorry.
I love Perceptor, you know. I just think that he didn't give him enough to do. I really, Perceptor's very cool. He's smarter than me. I love Grandpa Max because he's the kind of dad that I've always wanted to be. He was a grandfather. You know, he's that, you know, rough, tough guy who always tells Ben all the time, you know, think before you act. You gotta know what you're going to do, and then follow through. Right? So I love him. I think those are. I'm trying to think. Oh, you know, I've said this before. One of my favorite characters is a guy from a cartoon that nobody saw called Toxic Crusaders. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. Oh, I'm flushed. I love the Toxic Crusaders. You know, it was really by God. It was just this over-the-top, bizarro cartoon based on the comic, Toxic Avenger, wasn't it? And I played a character who was fused. He was a test pilot. Like a Chuck Yeager, guy from the South, test pilot, who flew through a hole in the ozone and crashed into a vat of radioactive pepper. It can happen. And upon the crash, he fused, one of his legs fused with a wheel of the airplane, and his nose, because of the pepper, became huge. And his power was, they were all hideously deformed creatures of superhuman size and strength. Everybody had one of them. And Nose Zone's power was, he sneezed. And when he sneezed, he could level blocks. He could tear down a forest, you know.
And Nose Zone talked like that. And he was kind of, you know, silly. And the thing is, I can't do it without making that face. He's really an attractive guy. But it was great fun to do. I love Nose Zone. Because there was, anytime there's an innocence to a character, I like that. I like that they're not so, they don't know everything. You know, there's an honesty and there's an innocence. Maybe it's because there's still that child in me that's still kind of innocent. You know, at least I hope there is. Very good question, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I like that toy you have there. That's
Hi.
Hi.
What do you think about the other people who play Perceptor, like the animated Perceptor or the Wreckers Perceptor?
I've never heard of them.
What?
No, well, the one Perceptor was the when they made him like Stephen Hawking sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't like it. Not because it wasn't me. It just I didn't care for it. There's something about it's strange, but there's something about the humanity that the Transformers have. And for me, when you take away any part of the humanity, then it leaves left a little hollow, So I didn't particularly care for it, and I haven't heard any. Who else did Perceptor?
He was a Wrecker in the comics. Sniper, I think.
Oh yeah. I thought you were asking who did the voice.
Oh no. What about?
Oh, you mean the comic where they made him the the sniper?
Mm-hmm.
When I first heard about it, I was outraged. What? This is a man of science. How dare you? But then I said, actually, it's a pretty cool idea. And I think they can have it enforced as well. Just change the voices just a little bit. I played people who kill people too. So seriously, I was like, what? They made them. Why? Why do that? But then, I can see it. Very cool.
All right, thank you.
Batman. Don't point that thing at me. No.
Which is why the site actually works.
So what?
The site actually works.
It actually works. Very cool.
I got two questions. One's kind of serious, one's more or less silly. The first one is, for a Transformers movie, do you have any idea that of all the Transformers, especially from the season 1 characters, that Perceptor would end up stealing as much of the show as he did?
No. We have no idea. Listen, I've said this before. The hardest thing for me, when we got to the point where I had to say, I'm afraid to lose, it blew me away. We had no idea. They're going to kill what? Again, it's like, they didn't give it to us ahead of time. The way we worked back then is, nowadays, often you'll get the script a day or two in advance. They'll email you the script, you read over the script, so you have some idea what you're going to do. Not on all shows. On Ben 10, that's what they always do. They send you a script. But back then, we didn't know. We get into the studio. We do a quick, often table read. Sometimes just go right behind, go to the microphone without doing the table read. You just see what comes out. So we didn't know. We had no idea. So that was a shocker, and I had no idea. We didn't know who all was going to be killed off. So that was all, a shock to people.
And my second one, would I be the first person to request you to do a Ray Campbell with, say, Optimus? Do to like a snake, like, Optimus? In Ray Campbell?
Yeah, you would be the first. You mean Roy Campbell calling for Optimus?
No, like when Snake dies, the snake.
I know what you're talking about, yeah. All right, well, watch your ears. Optimus. Optimus. Optimus! Thank you. By the way, I don't know where I was, but somebody asked me if I would do Snake. Snake! And the louder snake. And the longer snake. And I did it for somebody, and it's their ringtone. So the first one's kind of quiet. It's a little louder, and then if they don't pick up by the third, yeah, right.
Hi, Paul.
Hey.
What do you think of the live-action movies?
What do I want?
Have you seen the live-action movies, and what do you think about them?
I saw saw the first one, and you watched part of, which one was the third one? You watched part of the third one. I haven't seen the fourth. There are four, right? Then the second one was when you played the second one, yeah. Yeah. It's hard. You know what? To be honest, it's not the same. It's different. It's a different animal. So if you, for what it was, the shoot 'em up and all the explosions and the bells and whistles and the amazing CGI and all that stuff, I thought the first one was fine. You know, it wasn't totally my cup of tea, but so what? You know, I'm one person. Obviously, I'm in the minority. But I'm not as crazy about what they've done with them. I would rather they have. You want the truth? Number one, I would love to be involved. Number two, the most important thing for me is I would like to be more about the robots. It's like, okay, all right, you need this. I don't want to disparage it because it's different. It's a different thing. It just is my cup of tea. I just think it should be more about the relationship of the robots. You know, the people I find boring. I don't even make a reaction or anything like that. I just find the way it's written. You know, it's like, okay, it's one more thing. They just throw in the robots. But that's again, it's just my silly opinion.
Yeah. Thank you for your time.
You bet. I hope I haven't upset anybody. Because you can like it as much as you want. And it doesn't mean you're a bad person. Hello, Norman.
Hi, Paul. How are you doing?
I'm great now. And I'll get better.
And I agree with what you said about the Transformers live action movies.
Okay, good.
Two things. First of all, I want to thank your wife for being here today. I'm just glad she sends the story. And I have one comment. Transformers are known, especially with animated and some of Beast Wars, of doing cameos and references to other shows. And I haven't gotten to watch the last season of Ben 10, but I've yet to see Ben 10 have any references to transforming robots. I've seen machines, but not like sentient robots that transform. Do you think they can either stick in that or is it a receptor cameo somewhere?
You know what? I think I will, and I mean this sincerely, and hit me on Facebook and remind me. Because
Okay.
I will, I don't know I'm supposed to be saying this. Okay, don't tell anybody.
This will be posted on
Because I don't want
YouTube.
to
You know
get in
that.
trouble. We're right now in the process of doing a lot more than 10. And the last incarnation, Grandpa Max wasn't around a lot because, you know, they are now 16 years old. They've got to learn how to fend for themselves and take what they've learned from Grandpa Max. But this time, things have changed again. And now Ben is living with Grandpa Max. Grandpa Max has a, oh shoot, it's going to be all over, isn't it? I'm in such trouble. I'll just say, you'll be seeing a lot more of Grandpa Max in the episodes. And the scripts are really cool. They've made Ben older, so it's, they're appealing to an older demographic, you know. And everything looks really cool. We also did a throwback for Asia. The original Ben 10 is huge, down under, in Australia, New Zealand, and in Singapore, and in parts of Asia. And we did a movie that's coming out over there with the original Ben 10, you know, with Ben and Gwen, Tara Strong, and that's happening, I think, pretty soon. I think it's going to be opening in the States and Canada sometime next year. So that's fun. And you know what? I'm gonna bring that up.
I'd like
Because
to
I
see
think it's very cool.
I'd like to see a Perceptor cameo, even if it's just a microscope. But no bag and little green apples, please.
Oh, cool.
Thanks, Paul.
You bet, man.
Okay, the time right now is about 11:35. I'd like to remind people, I guess I have to repeat myself, please keep your cell phones down, keep your side conversations at a minimum. Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear your plastic bag, Ron. Okay,
Yeah. And she means it too.
we're from New
I wouldn't mess with her.
Just not only because people are filming this, but because, you want people around here. This is a courtesy. Thank you.
Hi again.
Hello.
I have two questions, hopefully quick questions. First one, after Transformers the movie, in which Perceptor was heavily featured, you were actually one of the few Transformers from the earlier generations who survived and went on to season 3. What did you think of season 3? How did you like your involvement in it?
I was just happy to be alive. Yeah, but seriously, that's you get the scripts and you say, okay, what's going to happen? Am I going to live or die? And after the movie, you never knew what was going to happen because that hadn't happened before that I can remember in an animated film where they killed off regulars.
Yeah.
These are guys that you've been watching for a year or two, and they're gone. And then you learn that it's about the toys. You got to make new toys. You got to create new characters. And the same thing's happening now with Ben 10 when they keep creating new creatures. So the guys who did some of the old creatures, some of the aliens, are no longer around. It's like, okay, I guess I'm gone now. Okay, I won't be back recording anything else. So you think of those practical things. The honest truth, I don't remember which was season 3 and which was season 2.
One in space.
Basically, season 3 had a lot more space, like
Yeah, there you go.
was mentioned, and Rodimus Prime and Ultra Magnus were.
Oh yeah, I meant which episodes that I was in.
I guess my second question, and this is more of a request. It is a request. I know that you're going to be, Paul, performing in the live script reading later on today. And so everyone can see that at 5 p.m.
With Mr. Gary Shaw.
Yes, that's correct. Would it be too much to ask you right now if you could ad-lib a conversation between Perceptor and Grandpa Max, talking about aliens attacking and mention, like Perceptor talking about maybe a space bridge and Grandpa Max mentioning plumbers, tools, and weapons. Is that too much to ask?
Yes.
Okay.
And why is it my characters? Okay, before I do that, I want to ask. I need some help. All these characters, and you guys that have seen me before, you haven't helped me at all. Everybody, all these different characters have, the tagline. Autobots roll out. That sort of thing. Grandpa Max doesn't have one, nor does Perceptor. What would Perceptors be?
Well, Perceptors.
What? Now, why didn't you guys tell me that? Science, of course. That would be good enough. You'd be happy with that? Cool. Because I've been trying to write, the cursory evaluation of TFcon capability indicates a distinct tactical disadvantage. In other words, we're outnumbered. So it's science. Or, the pen is, the pencil is mightier than the sword. Okay. Perceptor, and Grandpa Max. Grandpa Max, any intelligent man knows that it takes more than one to know fact. You're always telling Ben to go fight the aliens. Why does he need 4 others? Why doesn't he just think? Well, sometimes with alien tech, you need more than just a brain. You need something that's going to blow somebody's head off. Yes, I understand that, Grandpa Max. But you must remember when you were younger. When you were younger, you didn't have all this alien tech. I had alien tech at the time I was a child. No. Who am I? That's a tough one. Because, you know, Perceptor, he and Grandpa Max would get along well. Grandpa, actually, I'm going to talk to the guys at Cartoon Network. If we can sneak something in there. That would be really fun.
That would be awesome.
Or just to do, they couldn't actually do Perceptor, but I can do
Something Perceptor's like.
a Perceptor type of voice. You know, for one of their characters. Oh, you got me going now. The wheels are spinning. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Thank you very much.
You got me some. That's, oh, God. I like that idea. Hello.
Hello, Paul. Name's Jerry.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Good, man.
Good. I wanted to ask you a question about your acting and your career and stuff. And if there was any characters or roles that have really touched you or have, say, become a part of you going forward in your career.
Oh, wow. Not just voiceover? Anything?
Yeah, anything. I mean, we see a lot of Hollywood actors act and stuff, and they do something nice and noble, and then they go out and do something jerky in real life. Is there anything that you've really kind of carried with you moving on?
Yeah, well, you know, when you're acting, my first love, I'll be flat out honest, I started out on stage, in theater. And that's where I truly love being in the theater. Because you get that immediate response from an audience. And every time you perform, it only happens once. That moment, like this, actually, this moment right here, is gone. It will never happen again. Doesn't matter, even if everybody came back here, sat in exactly the same place, and I stood in the same place, the event would be different. You know what I mean? It happens that moment in time. And when you're on stage performing, and you're sharing something with the audience, and they're getting it, or they're you're a jerk or the guy or whatever. It's that moment, and it's electric. And there's an old adage that says that the audience gets a performance that it deserves, which means it is a shared event. Doesn't matter how good you are on stage. If that audience, if people watching are alive and involved and connected, the actors and the piece gets better. Everything gets lifted up. You know what I mean? One of the characters that I did for 11 months, I did a show called Fiddler on the Roof. And I played Tevye, who is, he's got 5 daughters. And it's about, changing times and all that sort of thing. But Tevye gets to sing, dance, act. He's on stage probably 3/4, 4/5 of the time. And it is totally draining. But it is it was so cool. Because he also talks about, his belief in his love for his family, all that sort of thing. All that mushy stuff. And that role really hit me and really stayed with me. And I think a lot of the characters, I mean it sincerely, in Grandpa Max, I really want to be that guy. I've tried to be that guy for my daughters. Who is caring, loving, strong when he has to be, and trying to impart some knowledge, and then hopefully they take it and move with it, like any parent, any good parent. Other roles, a lot of them. And there are other roles that I never want to, be part of. I played guys who were just really not savory characters, let's put it that way, both on film and I did a series years and years ago, before most of you were born, called The Charmings, where I was just kind of this nutty guy, a next door neighbor type of guy. but a good guy, you know. But he's also one of those guys that was kind of backwards, you know, not much going on. So those kind of characters you just walk away from. But those other ones like, you know, Tevye, things like that make a difference, you know. Did I answer your question at all?
Yeah, that's pretty close. I mean,
Cool.
you'd probably go on all day, but yeah.
Yeah, I could. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. But thank you for your time, Paul.
You bet, man.
Thanks.
Hello. Good.
My question is, what was it like doing the voice work for No More Heroes? I mainly just wonder if you ever actually got to meet Suda 51.
I didn't hear the end of it.
I just mainly asking if you what was it like working if you ever got to actually meet Suda 51, what was that like if you did?
You know what? No More Heroes? When you're asking about?
Yeah.
No, by myself. I was in the studio all by myself. Yeah. See, that's a lot of the games and whatnot are like that. You go in and you're just sitting there. You know, there's nobody around. Same thing with God of War. You know, some things that you really want to work with another actor. You're there all by yourself. And that's where the work comes in. Having, you know, imagining that conversation from the other person. You know, imagining how they're going to react to what you're saying. So it's tough.
Oh, so you never got to meet Suda 51 then? Oh, okay.
No. Hey.
Hello. I just wanted to say I'm really glad to hear that Uncle Max is going to be in the new Ben 10 series a lot more because it's just so lame when he was gone. I didn't really like the new series. Also,
Thanks.
a bit more in relation to Ben 10. One of the new art directors for the new series, from what I hear, is Derek J. Wyatt. He's a big Transformers fan, so if you want that cameo in there,
that's right.
You should hook him up.
And the pumpkins and the spider web will start weaving its way. That's absolutely right. I forgot about that. Yeah, someone's coming up. Sir.
I was really excited when I went to E3. I got to play the new God of War compilation series of the 2 PSP games on the PS3.
Cool.
I'm really, really excited about that. How involved were you on that project?
This is 3, right?
These were the 2 PSP games, the Chains of Olympus and
Ghost of Sparta.
Thank you, Ghost of Sparta. They're taking them from the PSP version,
right?
Put the 2 games together on one disc for the PlayStation 3. Were you involved with the voice work, and how involved were you on that particular one?
Okay. Well, I was. Is the Grave Digger involved in that, or is that in one?
That's in the first one, but I haven't played these 2 yet. I
Oh,
just got
okay.
to play the demo, and I'm like really.
Well, then I
pumped about
shouldn't
it.
tell you. Because there's some secrets.
I know what the Grave Digger is.
Oh, okay. You know what the Grave Digger is?
I know the first 2. I know the first 3 games.
Okay.
I haven't played the 2 PSP games.
Well, I'm Theseus. I was the Grave Digger who turns into Zeus in one, and then I'm Theseus in another one. And Theseus, it was a fun one because at one point I get killed. Okay, well I can get killed, and at one point the way that they told me, I said, well, how am I dying? He said, well, they have this metal door that's incredibly large and very heavy. It's about 15 feet high. And what he does, he takes the door and slams your head in again and again and again. And then I said, well, one slam and I'd be gone. And he said, no. So I had to scream with my head, like I'm getting my head. I said, well, how do you scream when somebody's slamming your head in? But that's the thing we had to do. At one point, they said, okay, here we're going to. It was another game. They said, okay. I said, well, okay, how do you die? They kill you in every game, or you win in every game. And there was one where I had to have my head cut off. And they said, okay, why don't you scream like you're getting your head cut off? Yeah, that's why I said, wait, well, my head is over there, I don't think there would be a lot of sound. You'd be, oh! And then you're gone, you know. So, some of the things are, you know, are, and then when you tell them that, it's, oh, yeah, I guess you're right, yeah. Okay, all right, well, let's say you know they're going to cut off your head. Okay, so then you can do a screen before, but it's got to be a quick screen because that sword's coming pretty fast. Yeah, some of the things we have to do are, they're silly. Yep.
Yeah, I'm just glad Perceptor wasn't a headmaster.
Oh yeah, oh please. Tell me about it.
Thanks again, Paul. I really appreciate it.
You bet, man. Sir, Chris.
Hello, my name is Chris. I'm a big fan.
And I'm a fan of yours, Chris.
It's been a lot of fun watching you get into the convention circuit over the last few years. Like last year, seeing you at TFcon and seeing you here.
That was my first.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun watching you kind of. It seems like you're really enjoying yourself in these shows.
Well, the first time it was really easy. My first con, okay, was BotCon in Florida last year. I had not done anything, none of the Star Trek, nothing. I just hadn't been around. I just wasn't involved in doing it. I had both my daughters at home, and I wanted to be at home. Now they're in college, so screw them. Are you recording this coming for my daughters? No. No, they left me. You know, I stayed at home. No. And so now I started. That was my first one, and the first one was a breeze because I was paired with Scott McNeil. They say, "Hi, this is Paul Eiding." Okay, this is Scott McNeil, and then you don't have to do anything. Scott, you guys all know Scott, a man with 1,000 voices, and it was a breeze. That was really easy. I didn't have to say anything. Well, actually, I couldn't say anything. It was great.
Well, it's been a lot of fun watching you in these Q&A sessions, in part because, of course, a lot of folks are going to bring up your role as Perceptor being in the Transformers convention and all that, but I've actually been really enjoying seeing the number of people bringing up your video game work as well. In my own case, I was actually just checking out some footage of an older game called Dead to Rights Retribution, and was very surprised to hear your voice suddenly show up in the game as a father character.
Yeah.
And it's almost like this whole other level of nostalgia. Like, you check out these old 80s cartoons, you hear voice actors, we've been doing that for a couple of decades now. Now I'm checking out all these older video games and hearing voices I recognize. And you mentioned video game work being a little bit more work than cartoon voice acting. Is it a little bit different hearing recognition for some of these video game roles as opposed to cartoon and dramatic roles? Like, since video game roles can tend to be a bit more grindy to go through?
Listen, I'm thrilled when anybody recognizes me from anything, recognizes the voice from anything. You know, because, whether it's, there are people who hate me because they heard, you must construct additional pylons. It's like, I don't want any more pylons! Pylons! But did I strike it out with you guys? Yeah, so there are those that, sick of hearing my voice because they hear it again and again and again and again. Or the same with Diablo, that sort of thing. It's really cool. I've got to be very careful how I phrase this because I have some friends in England who give me a hard time. Some fans that I met in BotCon in Florida, because at one point I said the whole point of being an actor is to make contact with humans. That's what life is all about, touching each other, in one way or the other. So I said, it's about touching. And then of course it's, oh, watch out, Paul Eiding wants to touch you. No, not that kind of touching. So they're going to give me a hard time about this too. But I mean, that's what we want to, that's why we do this. And to find out, if someone told us way back when the Transformers would make this kind of an impact on people, and still be around all these years later, nobody would have believed it. I mean, how many people have that opportunity? You know, so whether it's video games or cartoons, or, you know, some people just posted on my wall some old videos of TV shows that I did a CSI recently, a year or so ago. They posted that. They posted something. Oh, I didn't realize you were in that. Oh, yeah, I'm an actor. You know, and that's what it's all about. You know, having somebody give a crap about what you do. You know, and when you do something that means something, it's like, that's what life's about. You know?
Thanks very much. And I also believe very much in reaching out and touching a whole lot of people.
Thanks, everybody.
We are, unfortunately, out of time. So let's give a hand for Mr. Eiding. Our next panel is the Hasbro new product preview Q&A. Any last words?
By the way, I am on Facebook. Anybody cares?
And you're